just wanted to take a shot first. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Hangover with yours truly. My name is Shai, and Chasers, we've got a beautiful guest today. It's something new because normally we start off the show with a song, but she's reserving all of her vocal powers and whatnot for the end of the show. So please welcome. Medyo na-pressure siya ata dahil dun. Please welcome Jayda. Hi!
It's nice to see you again.
Yes, last
Sa ibang
time.
programa naman.
Oo,
Yes.
we changed things up just a little bit. Actually for you.
Oh, wow.
Sabi
Thank you so
namin,
much.
you know what, we're
I
gonna
feel
have Jayda.
so honored.
Exactly. It was really for you talaga. Sabi namin, we're gonna change things up because we're gonna have Jayda soon. So
Thanks.
dahil dun, we
I
have
love
the
it.
hangover.
I love the reformat. It's cozy.
It
We were
is.
just
It's
talking about
cozy.
that.
It's warm, and you could also just take a drink of water.
Yes.
Yes, water. Water is indeed what we're having.
Yes.
Anyway,
Stay hydrated if you know what I
right,
mean.
right, exactly. You gotta do that. Stay hydrated and fix your posture, guys. All right. So
Parang na-conscious
Jayda,
tuloy ako.
it's actually TikTok reminds me. There's some creators who do that, like, hey, drink your water or stay hydrated and fix your posture. At then habang nakaganon ka, bigla ka na lang, bigla ka
Biglang
mag-aayos.
mako-conscious ka.
Oo, like,
Alam mo naman nakikita nila.
mismo.
diba?
Pero like, hey, creator, thanks, I guess.
I suppose, yes.
All right. So you've got a new song out, and we're gonna
Yes,
again, like I
that's right.
mentioned, like I promised our viewers, our chasers, by the way, that we will be listening to that later on. But for now, I want to talk about you. You know,
Okay.
at the very fresh age of 21 years old.
Yeah,
Wow, you've
love
done
it.
and achieved so many things. You're a singer, you're a songwriter, a dancer. You play the piano, you play the guitar. What? Ang dami actually,
Thanks.
di ba? And you're gorgeous, by the way,
Oh,
as
thank
well.
You. Thank you so much.
So, napaka-blessed mo sa part na yan. Do you have any secret talents that you might want to share with us that not everyone may know about just yet?
I just know my team behind the camera. They're definitely laughing.
Because
So,
there is something.
I do have a secret talent.
Uh-huh.
Magaling ako pumatay ng lamok tsaka langaw.
Guys, let's not laugh. We listen and we don't
We listen
judge.
and we don't judge.
Because we live in a tropical country.
Yes, honestly, that is my contribution to my household.
But wait, pati langaw?
Yes, kaya ko. Ginagamit ko chinelas.
What?
Mhm.
What in the Kung Fu Panda is
Yes,
that?
Sharpshooter po.
What?
Yes,
And
that's my hidden talent.
namana mo ba yung talent na yan somewhere? Or
I've been told that my grandfather, from my dad's side,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Wow.
I heard that was him like before.
Wow.
So, yeah, probably from my dad's side,
passing on the talent one
Yes.
generation to another.
hereditary.
I think that is it. So,
Yes.
guys, we're gonna be fine. We've
Yes.
got Jayda.
I got you.
Yeah.
Whenever, basta pag may langaw sa bahay, my mom is just gonna call me, Nak, may langaw.
Nak,
I
alam mo
already-
na,
I
ganun.
already know what to do.
And are you like excited to do that?
Oh yes,
Yeah?
of course. It's a good challenge. It's fun.
What
I
about
don't know. It's good reaction time. I feel like I also developed this skill because I love to play video games.
Oh, there you
So
go.
video games are like good for your reaction time.
I can
So,
imagine. I can
yeah,
imagine.
it's applicable.
I mean, the only game I play is the one where you don't have internet. The T-Rex.
The T-Rex.
That's
What's that
T-Rex.
one?
Yung kapag wala kang internet. Oh, well, you know what? Baka never siya nawala ng net, guys.
Ah, alam ko na. No. I know what you're talking about.
Yung the T-Rex
Okay.
with the
yung
cactus.
sa,
You have to
sa
jump.
Google ba?
Yes,
Oh,
that
sa
one.
Google.
That's
Okay,
my
okay,
only
yes.
game. That's the only thing I play. But
Is that so?
and I think that will also apply the whole reaction time thing.
Reaction time is really key. So,
diba?
ayun, yun talaga yung hidden talent
Life
ko.
skills, guys.
Yes.
You gotta learn that as well.
Big girl things.
What about
you know?
EPs?
Ayan, sobrang kinakatakot ko. That's my biggest fear.
Next question, please.
Yeah.
Kung EPs na pinag-usapan.
No, I can't. Legit, like one time, i-share ko na dito. I almost got ran over by a car because I got scared of seeing a cockroach sa
Goodness.
sa daan.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, my mom was so mad.
I would imagine why.
Yes, no, because I saw it. And pag ganun talaga, napapatili talaga ako.
Like,
Hindi-
you know what?
hindi ko
I'm
talaga
willing to
kaya.
just be hit by a 10-wheeler or something. I just don't
I
want...
don't know. Like in my brain at the time, I was like, it's so small. You would think. Alam ko siguro dun. I mean, dun sa part na yun, I admit, like it seems like such an irrational fear, pero hindi ko talaga
No,
siya
it's
kaya.
not
One time, o diba, chinika ko na. I was left alone at home, and I was like with my dog. It was just me and my dog, and I was waiting for my parents to come home, and then all of a sudden I saw a cockroach there, and then I ran away. I couldn't deal with it. I waited until they got home to have someone someone kill
Deal
it
with
for
it,
me.
ganun,
Yeah.
wala
Hindi ko
talaga.
talaga kaya. Yun talaga. I
And
will,
was the cockroach also waiting for your parents to come
mukhang
home?
ganun na nga eh. So, ayun. Nawala naman siya. Rest in peace.
No, no, no. Don't give them that. No.
No, they don't deserve.
They don't deserve our RIPs. No. My goodness. So what a great start for the show, by the way,
Diba?
guys.
It's a good icebreaker. Yeah.
is.
Were you expecting that? Probably not.
No,
Yeah.
surprise.
Yes. You're learning new things about
Chasers,
me.
this is what you get with the Hangover.
Yes.
It's just surprises.
Quality
here and there.
content.
But also, please be safe from now on.
Thank you. Thank you. I will.
And now we also can't wait, by the way, like I mentioned, our viewers cannot wait to listen to your performance of Bida. And this song shares the feeling of the realization of seeing the one you love with somebody else.
That's true.
Bum. But it's as if you're watching a plot of a movie unfold. So usually, when real life situations are described as movie-like, it's usually something positive. But what made you believe that such a hurtful emotion can be very cinematic?
That is such a good question. I love it because I do have an answer to that. Because let's just say I've been there before and that's really kind of where Bida started. Out of the emotion that I definitely felt was when you feel like something is so cinematic in the worst way possible. And that's like watching the person that you like or you love fall in love with someone else right before your eyes, like a movie. And it sucks because like yun nga, yung feeling mo, like we all feel to a certain extent that we're the main characters of our lives, and like our life is a movie, but sometimes life is harsh that way. Reality hits you in the face, and you watch that happen before you. And I just felt like it was a feeling that I feel like a lot of people could relate to. We've all had our feeling bida moment, our bida moment,
Yeah,
that gone
sometimes,
wrong. So yeah, that's really where it started. And at first I didn't have the title Bida. I just knew like I wanted to write about something about feeling like you're the main character and realizing you're not. And my co-writer, my dad, so I told him about this concept, and then he said the words, "So hindi ikaw ang bida." And then it clicked. I was like, that's a good concept. And yun nga, I think I talked about this last time on concept-based songwriter. So once you have a concept, it's much easier to write around. And although this one did take some time because gusto ko talaga hanapin the right words to say what I wanted to say with it. And yeah, needless to say, I think I found them. So
I think lang naman,
I think
I mean,
so.
after producing and everything, feel ko lang naman, okay
Feel
na
ko
siya.
lang.
We will be
Okay
the
na
judge
to.
later on. Okay na to.
Okay na to.
We'll judge later on, guys, kung okay ba talaga. Like,
Yeah, let's see.
And we'll also get to judge kung okay
Yeah.
ba talaga na songwriter yung dad mo. Diba?
Oh, wow.
Parang, baka naman finally he can make his mark in this world.
Baka na.
Baka na, kung sino man siya. I mean, anyway.
It's not like he's been doing it for 40,
Forever.
for like 40 years.
Hindi naman, diba? All right. So, here at The Hangover, that was a great start, by the way, for this conversation.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm having fun.
But here at The Hangover, we have a set of questions where, it gets spicier per level. We've got 3 levels. It gets spicier each level.
It's
Starting-
giving hot ones, but with
Yes.
questions.
But with pulutan, ganun.
Nice.
You
Okay.
are the pulutan, by the way.
That's me.
So our first level
Pulutan.
is going to be You Drive Me Nuts. So basically, Manila yung tanong sa'yo, ganun.
Okay.
The second one is Chicharong or Right, which is like kung tama or mali ba itong mga sinasabi,
Okay.
mga allegations about you. And finally, the last one is our SSG or Spicy Sizzling Gossip. So we have scoured the internet and we have spoken
You
to
did your
people.
research. I can feel it.
No, they
Yeah.
did.
Oh, they did.
I'm just
You
being
are
pretty.
you are the messenger. You are
I
the
am simply
messenger.
the messenger, and please do not shoot the messenger.
Got it.
When it comes to the questions, starting with this first one from the
Okay.
Drive Me Nuts. Coming from a family of renowned musicians, your parents being who's this Ding Dong Avanzado? Never heard of him, and Jess Zaragoza. Are there things that they also learn from you as a musician in the current generation?
You know what? It's funny. I was just talking about this with my mom. So the number one thing she'd probably say is social media.
Oh yeah.
Paggamit ng social media. I think, guys, I'm a part-time social media manager,
Oh, okay.
honestly. For my parents. I love to edit their content for them.
Oh, that's cute.
So yeah, and I think, well, as it relates to music, especially for me and my dad, because we write together. Whenever we write together, it's really kind of like, instead of a father-daughter thing, or activity. It's more of like writing from artist to artist.
Love
So
that.
melodically, I guess, he's able to learn from me. Like he's told me that he does learn from me because we have different approaches to songwriting, but it complements with each other. His is very sometimes simple is the way to go, and I agree to it to an extent. But I also believe in challenging what is conventional. I love to do that. So I love to think of new ways to say things and new melodies. So I would say yun, siguro. Pero number one talaga social media. And I guess creating content for their performances and for music, which is like what I help them with. So
You have to get
there.
paid extra for that. You
should.
must.
I
Yes.
should. I'm kidding.
Panawagan na po, mom and sir, mommy, dad.
Yeah, you guys can hire me as well. I'm
Exactly.
open.
Like the next time they ask you to do something for for their social media, you have to say something like, "Parang this requires a professional job na
A
talaga."
professional fee.
And-
Professional fee ko lang, simple lang yan, kahit isang meal lang,
Mga
okay
ganun,
lang.
like a good one.
Yes,
Diba?
or kahit chichirya, happy na ako
Oh,
dyan.
diba? Like just stock up my fridge or something.
Yes.
Diba? At least let's talk.
Yes.
Let's
We
negotiate.
can negotiate. Madali naman akong kausap.
Anak, we gave you life ha, pero sige. Yun
I
lang
did.
naman. But that's
Yeah.
cute. I
Yeah.
love especially what you said na you and your dad, it's not a father-daughter thing, but more an artist to artist. So parang
Yes.
you put your professional mode on. Somewhat like that. Inaaway mo ba siya, paminsan?
Hindi naman inaaway, pero we do have discussions and then we go back and forth quite a bit. Lalo na, I guess, yun nga, because there is like, like a bit of a generation
Yeah.
gap in that sense, I guess. And to be fair, kasi in our household, it was really encouraged. Like, of course, it's good for you to exchange ideas and speak your mind, of course, respectfully. But yun nga, we do have discussions, and sometimes it takes some explaining for me, especially when we write songs. He'll be like, why are you thinking of it in this context, or why would you choose that melody? I'm like, trust me, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it goes the same way for him, where he's like for Bida, for instance, I had a completely different melody for the chorus, and he was like, it's not sticking, it doesn't feel like a chorus. And I trusted his opinion, but at the same time I was like, well, I don't know where to take it. Hindi ko alam kung saan ko to dadalhin. Then all of a sudden it just occurred to me. Well, it was like a light bulb moment. Like I was on the piano, and then I just came up with a na 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 na, and then he was like, "That's a chorus." So like, there's that exchanging of ideas, and I think that's really healthy in any kind of relationship, whether it be with family, romantic, or friendship. It's important. Like that's how you guys grow. So
Here's one more question with writing with your dad. Do you write about heartaches?
yes, of course. I mean, that's kind of my branding, is it not?
No, but
Yeah.
genuine, like pinagdaanan mong heartaches?
Oh naman, syempre. But here's the thing, and like he's cool for this. He doesn't tend to ask.
Talag?
He doesn't.
Naway lahat.
He respects that.
Oh, that's
and I
cute.
love that.
Kahit nanggigigil na siya?
Siguro.
Like, bakit tong linyang to, anak, ha?
No, like sometimes he'll hit like playfully. You'll be like, either para kanino ba to? O, kung saan ba to? But
Trying to fish, gano'n?
low key, yeah. But he leaves it there, and I think that's what's really nice about writing with him as well, because it makes for a comfortable space that it doesn't necessarily just feel like like, I mean, it's good that there's a family aspect to it, but it's good that we keep it separate in
Yeah,
such
yeah,
a way
yeah.
we still have a boundary.
That's
And-
good, that's
And
good.
I think it makes it that our partnership is fruitful like that, because I can be vulnerable without having to spill
Plus,
everything
if he
necessarily.
keeps fishing or forcing to get information, you're gonna be feeling awkward.
Yeah.
Parang sige, last na to.
No, it's more so syempre. I mean, there are certain things na, I mean, I'm sure a lot of our chasers like can relate to, like certain things na you might feel awkward opening up about, or hindi ka pa handa na pag-usapan. Pero, with this, kasi with songwriting, a lot of the times, lalo na when you write about heartache, it's therapeutic. Like usually ako, when I've written a lot of songs, I've been in the trenches of heartbreak, and I'm still in the process of healing, where I'm not necessarily ready to talk about it right then and there. But eventually, I have had instances with my dad where eventually I was like, yeah, actually, like this was about this instance and this and that.
Okay. May revelation slowly throughout.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. Shout out to respectful parents with our
Yes, shout out.
boundaries, and we should really have more of that now in 2025.
You know.
All right. Moving on, we heard that you're leaning more towards the cinematic pop genre, which your latest song "Bida" falls into. How did you grow fond of this kind of music? Did you have inspirations?
That's
or
a
what?
good question. So I've always loved storytelling as a kid. So that it really started before I started writing songs. I would write stories, write
Yeah.
novels. I used to write fan fiction.
Uh-huh.
Fun fact. So yeah, so it really started from that, and I've always had a love for storytelling, and that's always been really prevalent in my music. But the turning point was, so this was like right after I had put out Sad Girl Hours, and I was sort of trying to figure out what my next direction would be for my music, and I was really thinking about like, is it time for like a quick, like, I don't know, rebrand, if you want to say that, or like to show like a completely different facet, or is there still more to say within this realm of ideas, and sort of like a transitional kind of thing. And then it just so happened that Bida really came about, and the idea of cinematic pop, then like, it was one of those light bulb moments where it started because a friend of mine, Dianella actually, so he had told me when I was having him hear songs from my album, sabi niya sa akin na, Mima, like your songs are very cinematic, like in nature, like cinematic. So like when he used that word cinematic, it really kind of clicked in my head, where I was like, oh, like what if that's really my calling, or what if that's what's more to say?
Yeah, yeah.
And another thing too is like, I suppose with this genre, kasi it's still similar in the realm of what I am comfortable with, but it's sort of like, kumbaga parang tulay siya probably to something
Ah.
else that I feel like this in the next few songs that I'm releasing this year. So yun nga, so parang what I really love about this as well is because Sad Girl Hours was really it felt like a diary of my life. It was about me. I was very vocal about
Very
that.
raw siya, parang
Yes.
ganun, no?
But for this, I wanted it to be more about everyone. I wanted it to be more about the listeners. I wanted to write more about experiences that, of course, I could still relate to, but at the same time, it's easier to apply to someone's life. Parang kumbaga may certain level of blank canvas, and I think that's what we love about watching movies as well, because we see ourselves in the characters that we watch. So I want them, or the listeners, to feel like they see themselves in my songs. So
You mentioned that it could be a bridge to something else in the future. So you do see yourself, or you're open to a different version of you again in the
Yes.
next coming years. I guess, yeah, it's very normal
It's
for artists to
normal.
have to grow.
yeah,
Diba?
of course. I mean, I can definitely say like after Bida is really only the beginning of
Yeah.
of my cinematic pop era. But yeah, there's more to it, and I think I'm really looking forward to showing different sides of my artistry, because the reason why I had Sad Girl Hours the way it was because it was reflective of kumbaga yung mental state ko at the
At the time,
time, and yung lagay ng puso ko at the time. So
Kaya nga talagang parang
it was,
diary siya, no?
yeah, it was
Oo.
timely and relevant to me when I put it out, and I really needed that album,
Yeah, yeah.
actually. Pero yun, so I think it's time where I feel like I've healed enough to really start writing about different subjects, and obviously I'll always have an affinity for sad songs. Like I've always loved it as a kid.
Branding mo nga, sabi mo kanina.
Yes, but I'm not afraid to kind of step out of that and start writing about other themes as well. And
Is
yeah.
there a certain genre of sorts that you feel you'd wanna try out in the future? Maybe not the near future, but bigla ka ng emo punk rock, parang gano'n. I don't know. Example lang.
That's a good question. You know what? I really like. I mean, I've had aspects of it in my music. I like rock. You know what's funny though? I don't know if I'll ever be able to do it, but I've always heard it from the people around me. They've said, "Why don't you try R&B?" And I was like,
Oh.
and you know what? Like I feel like I have so much respect for the genre, because there's a lot of soul. Kumbaga parang there's a right way of doing it. I mean, I would hope to, because I've gotten it from a lot of people to the point where I'm thinking, obviously when you hear something from a lot of people, minsan mapapaisip ka.
Yes, yes.
Like for me, I guess I was thinking like, if down the line, if I ever do end up doing something like this, like sana bigyan ako ni Lord ng strength and the knowledge to be able to,
To deliver
to
the
deliver
way,
well. Because like obviously, if I'm gonna do something like that, but I have been told though that I do with some of the music that I've written. Like I went through a phase, kasi like back in like 2021, where I really just wrote different kind of things that felt a little bit more like P-pop or K-pop. I think those would be things that I would be comfortable down the line. Also, maybe like exploring as well. So,
But yeah, you know what? Because you mentioned that they mentioned it. Oh, nga, I do see you in like the whole R&B genre. Pero parang feel ko it sounds so wrong, but it comes with age.
I
Alam
agree.
mo
I
yun,
think
no?
it's also experience, and I'd like to train for it. You know, should I ever enter that genre and stuff like that. So, yeah, I agree. Like it's really experience, and ako nga gusto kong bumalik sa vocal lessons as well. I want to have a refresher. Then I want to be able to grow as a singer, because it's a muscle. It's like an athlete.
Yes,
You
yeah,
have to
yeah.
keep training it to become better. So
We
yeah.
stand a queen who wants to, grow
Oh wow.
and
Thanks.
always
Of course, it's all about
improve
growth.
with her craft.
Yes.
Slay. Sige.
Thanks.
All right, well, looking forward to that. But for now, we will enjoy your cinematic pop era. Yeah.
Yes, I love it.
Here's my next question is kind of it's a little bit darker than you'd expect with
Okay.
this set of questions. But you mentioned before that you're receiving hateful comments and even death threats at the age of 15. How do you handle this kind of traction, to keep you going? Maliban sa, I'm sure, either security, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was an era. I'll have to say it was an era, but I knew what I was walking into when I entered the industry. Alam ko naman na it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it correct, like the correct thing to do. But it's important when you enter the industry. It's something that you subject yourself to, like opinions of people. And alam ko naman na people are always gonna have opinions about you, and you can't change that. Of course, there are days where I do struggle with that, but at the same time, the way I handle it is I sort of try to block it out as noise, or just like focus on the opinions of the people who do matter to me. Because at the end of the day, you realize those opinions come from a different place, and they talk about you like they don't know you. And sometimes it also helps to think about it as, when they talk about you, they don't necessarily parang nakakalimutan ng mga tao na tao ka lang.
Yes.
So it's this persona that they're talking to, rather than
They've
talking
only
about,
ever
you know what I
seen
mean?
so much of you, which is
Yes.
very little. And then they have
Yes.
these very heavy opinions.
Tsaka may tendency, pag ako napansin ko, usually those opinions come from a place of meron silang mga sariling mga insecurities or sariling
Love that take.
you know what I mean? So sometimes I also try to think about that. It's also less about me and more about them. So yeah, I mean, obviously when it comes to something as serious as death threats, we take that very
Yeah.
very seriously. And at the time when we did consult like legally for
Oh, wow.
for
At
that.
that point, ah.
Umabot siya sa punto na yun, but we chose not to press charges na lang.
Pero nakilala nyo, like, chika talaga na chumismis.
Oh, yeah,
So
chumika.
figure
Yeah.
out nyo kung sino talaga and everything.
Yeah, we were able to trace. Like, that's the thing. I feel like I also remind people that you might be hiding under a dummy account, but there's IP addresses
Yeah,
and things
all
like that
that's-
the government really can. I mean, hindi sa parang pananakot, but that's just really just the reality na you don't walk away scot free, or there are always consequences to anything that you do. I mean, at the time, that was like many years ago when that happened, but we took it very seriously. Kasi syempre, at the end of the day, no matter how you might feel about someone, there's no excuse to really talk about someone like that you would want their life to end in that way.
Pero
you
you'd
know?
also wonder, bakit po? Like, why are you threatening me? Ano pong ginawa ko sa'yo? At,
I know, and it's usually people who really don't know you at all.
and you were only 50. You were a teen.
Yeah, I
Diba?
was a
You were
teen.
child
It
back
was
then.
definitely a crazy concept to grasp. Like, wow, people on the
Oh.
internet are talking about me in this manner, and like reading it for myself. It was definitely an eye opener, because that happened, if I'm not mistaken, my almost mag 1 year pa lang ako sa industry nun, or like 1
Wow.
year pa lang ako officially, like 2019. So it was like my baby years in the industry. So at the time, it was an eye opener of what I was getting myself into. But at the same time, di naman ako nagpatinag dun sa nangyari.
Well, we're
So,
glad because again, you're here with us again.
Yes, I'm
we're
still
having this
here.
conversation
That's
again.
true,
We
that's
want to
true.
keep it that way. So guys, let's just be kinder.
Yes,
Parang people,
yes,
this is like
of
the
course.
fourth Hangover episode that I had to remind people. Let's be kind. In
Yeah.
the internet or in real life, guys, tigil na natin kalokohan natin ng ganyan.
Totoo.
Anyway.
Yes.
Wow, that went kind of dark, but let's move on. You may
Yes.
have written songs. I found out that you've also written songs for other OPM artists such as Bel Mariano, My
Yes,
Entrada.
that's right.
Your topics are usually about universal emotions. Naturally, it's something that many people write or talk about. How do you write about a common scenario while staying unique and putting a piece of yourself in it?
That's a good question. So when I write about, like, especially when I write for other artists, madalas kasi that's what you call medyo parang commissioned work in a way, or
yeah.
like you're asked to do it, which of course it's like it's an honor when you are asked to write for other artists. But for me, usually I always go back to my basics and my roots, which is really concept based. So ang ginagawa ko with common like scenarios, before the scenario I also study the artist that I'm writing
Oh,
for.
wow, okay.
So I get to, then that's what I did. That's what I did for Belle. That's what I did for My. I really got to know, you know, their core, their personality, and of course like little bits of their experiences. Then syempre it's good to be updated about that. And then of course pag taking that into factor, I write from the position trying to put myself in their shoes. Yun naman talaga. Kasi I think the thing about songwriting is one thing that's important is you bring the humanity
Yes,
into
yes.
it. So that's how I bring myself into it. But at the end of the day, when you're writing for another artist, it's a different kind of goal rather than writing for myself. Kasi at the end of the day, I do feel like I have a style of songwriting that you know, when I do write, you'll know that it's me, and that's to a sense, to the people that know, they'll know. So yun, that's really just my approach when writing for other people. And usually naman, a lot of the experiences that I write about are universal experiences in general, and it's not hard to relate to them. Like, I mean, I love to write about love. I also write about self-empowerment.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I did that for Belle. I did that with Rise, and then for My, I did her song Huling Hugot, which has been resurfacing, which is really cool. I want to give her a shout out. She did a performance of that recently, and wala lang, nakaka-proud lang to see other
I did that.
artists.
I did that. Parang ganun.
Yeah, or it's more of just like to see someone else bring your song to life. It's a pretty cool feeling as well.
If you had to choose being a performer for the rest of your life or a songwriter for the rest of your life,
Ooh, that's a good question. Cause like my core is really both, but I would have to say performer. Yeah,
bagay
for
rin
me.
talaga sa'yo.
Thank
Parang
you.
like, no, sayang, you've got the talent and everything.
Oh,
Put it out
thank
there.
you.
Something like that.
I think it's really because that's where I started. You know, like my passion for music began with performing because that's the environment that I grew up in. Because I mentioned this before, I think, but I was a tour baby, so I grew up seeing my parents on stage, and I grew up watching performers. That was really what I was exposed to. Later on na lang, like my early teens and all, and preteen years, dun naman ako na-expose sa songwriting. But yeah, being a performer, I think it's just what I love is making a connection with people. That's really that's my core as a writer and as a performer. So I feel like with performing, seeing people's real times reactions to my music, that's really what matters to me. But of course, like I would put them on the same par as each other. But for the sake of the question, yeah, I
For
would.
the sake of the
for the sake of the question, I
and
will
we're
be.
glad it's just a question.
Yes.
Because we don't want to choose who's our favorite child.
That's true. Like songwriting and performing, it's like it's
babies.
equal. It's equal in my mind. Like I always when I write songs, I always think about how it's gonna be live, and that's a whole other experience. I love one fact about me is I love doing live arrangements. I love changing it up
Nice.
for the live versions.
Oh, just like the one I talked about recently. I talked about earlier na nakita ko nag-trend sa TikTok ulit.
Oh, thanks.
The River Maya song that you merged, you melded with your own song.
With my song, yeah. So I did a mashup of my song Lumimot Sa'yo with Kisap Mata.
Mata, yeah.
And I have to give credit to my MD, David Lina. He thought of that. Kasi for the longest time, we always want to do something new for my set list. And for Lumimot Sa'yo, we just saw the opportunity to make the story of that song deeper. Kasi yun nga, totoo na Lumimot Sa'yo is about moving on. But Kisap Mata, I feel like it talks about, the feeling of like before that person left or how that person left. It helped tell the story more, and it just so happened that it worked out.
Bagay,
And
bagay siya.
thank you,
Oo.
thank you. I'm really happy, and like seeing all the comments online, it's sobrang natutuwa talaga ako pag nakikita ko like those little things. It makes you feel like there is an impact on.
And we cannot wait to see more of your creativity. And yeah,
Thanks.
please keep performing. Nakakatuwa
Thank
ka
you.
panoorin.
Thank
You talked
you.
about the connection, and we definitely can see that. Even me as a viewer lang of the videos.
Yeah.
Di ba parang, I get what you mean, the connection and everything.
Thank you so much.
And
I
with
love
that, we wrap up our first set of questions.
That
Di
was
ba?
the first set.
Mani.
Okay.
Mani, di ba? Parang,
Ano, chill lang tayo.
Exactly. This time we'll have our chicharong. All right. Starting with this one. As I mentioned, you've had your fair share of heartbreaks and romantic love stories. Is it true that you've written songs for Darren Espanto, considering you had a favorite her? Let me say that clearly before people go, ha? Ano daw?
Yeah.
Considering
Yes.
that they've had a thing for each other.
Whoa there! Hey now, a blast from the
Chicharong,
past.
right. Bahala
Let's
ka
go.
na.
Okay, well, let me set the record straight. So for me, my one rule for myself is I don't name names when I write songs. However, though, I will say that I leave it up to your interpretation and the timeline of my personal life.
It's very
If you
Taylor
know,
Swift,
you
but
know.
okay.
Yes, yes. In that sense, I mean, it's true. Like in the sense, I guess at the time we were like super young, and
Yeah,
then like he was someone really special to me at one point in my life. So I mean, it wouldn't be hard to write something about him. I would feel, but yeah, I leave that to your interpretation. You know.
Na kayo, guys, is what we're trying to say here. Next question.
Yes. Okay.
Instead of crying some
Parang
more,
medyo umiinit na
pa.
dito.
Like,
Yeah.
guys, electric fan daw, please ha.
Yes.
Next question.
Chill
Do
lang
you
tayo.
think it's true that others are saying that you got your easy way in the industry because you're the daughter of two of the most famous singers in the music industry, making you a Nepo baby?
Yes, that term, Nepo Baby. I know it all too well. Yes. No, but honestly, like, I will acknowledge I do have certain privileges
Yeah,
in a sense. I have a level of privilege in a sense na, of course, like in the industry, it's helpful to have a last name, which I don't always use. If you've noticed,
actually,
yeah.
I
Usually,
do.
I go as Jayda. I mean, I like the ring to it.
Didn't you have your handle that as just Jada?
Yeah, so just Jada's for my YouTube, but on
Okay.
Instagram I'm Jada.
There you
like
go.
nothing else. Yeah. But I mean, it does give an edge because kumbaga may level of familiarity. There's a ring to your name na pag when they know like Jada Panzado, anak ni Dingdo, Jessa. So it's yun nga, it gives a level of piquing people's curiosity. So I agree with that to an extent. And then, of course, when you meet certain people, because you did grow up with your parents' friends and things like that. However, I really do believe that it's just a different facet of my journey, but it doesn't make it necessarily easier. Contrary to what people might believe. In fact, may certain set of struggles din siya. Because lalo na if you grew up in a family, like for me, I have both my parents in the public eye. To be honest, like no matter what I would do, like I'd always have a level of myself in the public eye by default. So because you're a public figure in that sense, meron ng mga preconceived notions na ang mga tao sa'yo. You have less of a chance of having a blank canvas na of people giving you a chance, because a lot of people kind of are quick to write you off as, alam ko na to. So it does come with that set of challenges. And of course, I mean, probably I know some nepo babies do feel that struggle of getting out of their parents' shadow, but
yeah.
for me, I personally didn't feel that growing up, mainly because I was talking about this with my mom recently. The difference is because my parents and I, we make such different music that in terms of comparison, I mean, it's normal to be compared to them, but it's hard to really bunch us together because it's yeah, because of the difference in what we do. So in that sense, I did on the nepo baby spectrum. I suppose it is slightly easier in that sense, but at the same time, yun nga, it doesn't mean that I'm exempt from any struggles of making it, and especially at a time of this day and age where there's just so much talent out there, and whether you like it or not, the reality is it is there is a level of, I guess it's competitive. You know what I mean? It's cutthroat. It's competitive, and pag nawala ka saglit, there's always gonna be another person to take that spot. In that sense, it's just the reality of it. Obviously, you don't want to be toxic in terms of looking at it competitively to the point where you drive yourself crazy.
And
Pero
bring people down.
yeah, of course, no. It shouldn't be that way. Pero yun, going back to your question, hindi talaga siya madali. And this industry in general is not, whether you're a Nepo baby or you're not. I do believe that we all have our own story, and that just happens to be mine. But in terms of my set of goals, I was talking about this in an interview earlier that I did with Yes FM, and I said at the end of the day, ano lang naman ako, I'm just a girl with a dream.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have my set of struggles, and I do have my own goals that I'm still trying to achieve for myself. And at the end of the day, like in that sense, I hope people would be able to realize that, 'di ba kasi nabibinyagan kang nepo baby. At the end of the day, we're just human beings with a love for what we do. That's why we're here. But I can understand why they would think that way, and maybe for certain people, they'll use those connections in that card. But at the end of the day, it's ganun naman talaga eh. You play with the hand that you're dealt with.
Yes.
If you do have an opportunity to, I don't know if you want to use the word, like, use what you can to get to where you want to go. Like, if you do have connections in that sense, but at the same time, I hope people don't look at it as taking away from someone's efforts and yung art. Like, specifically in my instance, it's not to take away from my own hard work and my artistry just because of something that I could not have controlled. I mean, pag sabi ko nga, like as a joke, I say, pag may problema sila dun sa pagiging Nepo baby nila, si Lord na lang kausapin nila. Kasi siya
I
yung
was born
ano.
this way.
I was
Oo.
born into this family, which I'm very proud of.
Of
So,
course,
yun.
of course. And yeah, there a lot of people really take issue to the Nepo baby, but it is just a fact of your life.
It's
na-
just a fact.
Oo.
It's not something I also like to look at it super negatively either, because it is beautiful to be. I look at it more in the perspective that I have two parents who know exactly what I'm going through. In that sense, they've always they started where I was too, and we all also have our own differences and our own set of struggles. We all have our own story. I always like to think of it that way, and my parents just so happen to be a part of my story, but I don't end. It doesn't end for
there,
me there.
You know, I would only ever have me personally, kung maging hater ako, kung maging keyboard warrior ako, if I had an issue with the Nepo baby, it's only because sobrang sikat niya, sobrang there niya na, and di naman siya magaling. Parang ganun. But if the person, the artist, is truly talented, congrats to you for, yeah, sure, you might have had a little help here and there, but congrats, deserve mo naman pala, talented ka naman pala kasi, parang ganun. And also, guys, talaga promise, if you're only ever gonna focus on the Nepo baby part na may parents lang kasi siya, parang no, there's so much more to your struggles. I would imagine, obviously I don't know the feeling,
Yes.
but I would just imagine it's only ever really just a small portion of what you're going
Yeah, I
through.
think people tend to forget that. Like, I think it would be, bukod sa being kinder to one another,
Yeah.
let's not forget that the humanity in all of us.
Mismo.
Kasi lahat tayo meron tayong mga pinagdadaanan kasi. You know, like people tend to forget about that. Lalo na kasi iisipin nila, kasi artista or ano, sikat
sikat
siya.
na kasi yung
So wala siyang pinagdadaanan. Meron at meron. It's just that with the entertainment industry, like everything tends to be glamorized, or it's show business. We show certain parts. It doesn't make us fake or anything
yeah.
like that. I mean, at least for I can speak for myself. It just so happens that that's part of my profession to hopefully bring inspiration to your guys' lives. Kasi kaya I've always said, like especially during the pandemic, I've always deemed entertainment as essential because it's boosting
100%.
people's morale. You know what I mean?
100%.
And that's what we're here to do.
Oh
so.
gosh, I was just reminded of the quote the other day na during the pandemic, that's when you realize that artists, musicians, creatives were the ones who made us survive the pandemic.
Yeah.
Diba? So props to all of the talents out there.
Yes, props to all the artists and the struggles. Like, I hope you guys, like, I mean, with me kind of bringing this to light, even though I come from a different background, whatever your story may be, I hope you guys feel seen na yun nga. We all come from different backgrounds, but at the end of the day, we all have the same goal. So,
There you go.
yun.
Oh, diba? That was a long conversation.
I know
for
it
the
was.
easy
Sorry,
part.
I'm such a yapper.
No, we love that. We love that. And that was just
Okay.
the second part. This time we're going to move on to the third spiciest level.
Okay.
The spicy sizzling gossip. Again, spiciest level. We expect a stripped down, unfiltered version of you, starting with this
Got you.
question. Sometimes falling out of friendships are inevitable and truly can't be helped. How do you typically handle it? And is there ever a desire to rekindle such relationships, or do you prefer to just move on? Now, you are free to name drop if you want to. Wow.
Wow.
Kung may ganun bang instance, for example, but go ahead.
I think I'd rather not name drop, but
Sayang. Mali, we should have asked, guys.
Yeah.
Mali sila.
no, but like just in the spirit of the question, just to answer it honestly, for me, I've always been very, I guess, I'm the kind of person that I always try to salvage any kind of relationship if you know. Kumbaga may pinagsamahan kayo ng tao na yun, and it's always good to bring or to remember the value of that in those times, but at the same time, if you know that you're no longer being valued yourself and respected, there is a point where you need to walk away. So for me, when I'm in those kind of situations, I do what I can, and of course, explain my side and also consider the other person's feelings. Pero it's always good to remain logical in the times of emotional situations like that and do what's best for yourself.
Mature naman yan.
No, but
Hindi
it's
ka
true.
nagpaparinig sa Facebook, ganun.
Ha?
Hindi ka nagpaparinig?
Hindi.
Kanta, ganun.
Ay, saka The joke.
Kasi si ano eh.
No. I mean, in all seriousness, whenever I do write songs about any kind of experiences, hindi siya nasa intention na gusto ko magparinig. It's just that I'm speaking the truth. That's really what it is. But yun nga, going back to your question, in terms of a desire to rekindle, for me, the past is I leave the past in the past. You know what I mean? I put the past behind me, and I realize, especially now, that things always are meant to work out the way that they do. And, you know, if they ever do resurface for whatever reason, if that's what's meant to happen, then I welcome that. But other than that, I'm fine because like in that sense, I know that this person was meant to be in this particular season of my life,
that you're
and we
now.
don't always keep the people that we want to keep. And yun nga, at the end of the day, it's always just about choosing what will be the best for not just you as well, but what will be the best for that person. But at the end of the day, for me, I wish those people well, and I hope that from those experiences, or kung saan man, or kung paano man nagtapos yung relationships na yun, I hope that they've been able to grow from it as much as I have. So, yun lang.
Yun lang. I mean, I want to prize some more, but we're not that kind of interview
You know.
for now.
For now.
Netizens have left comments in your previous video performances that you've mentioned famous names to drag more attention to your song promotion. What are your thoughts on that, chismis?
Wow. Okay. Well, I guess personally, like usually, I don't really dignify it with a response because I know the truth. But for the sake of answering the question, it couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
Because I know my purpose in this industry. I know what I have to offer, and I know that I don't have to stoop to a level of doing something like that, doing it
Cloud chasing,
intentionally.
basically. Parang
No,
ganun.
like, but here's the thing. Okay, like I will put this out there. In the industry kasi, there is like, you will be associated with
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
and you will be asked about people, and sometimes, that's out of your control. And I feel like people are so quick to label that as nanggagawit ganito ganito,
yeah.
when you realize that there are many forces at play when you do interviews and things like that. And sometimes artists are ambushed, and then you do the best that you can do at that, at that time. However, yun nga, going back to the core of your question, yun nga, I know what I have to offer in this industry, and I know what I want to do. I know my purpose, and that's very clear to me. And it's definitely not that. I can say that confidently. So, yeah, and but then also when I do hear comments like that, I always like to just realize that no matter what I say, I mean, I'm addressing this now, they're not gonna believe me. Because they've already made up their minds about me.
Yes.
And
Meron kasi
ako,
judgment talaga.
tinatanggap ko yun. Kasi, lalo na ngayon, I think now, like, maturing within the industry, you can never please everyone. And if that person doesn't want to accept what I have to say,
Yeah.
then there's nothing I can do. And I know that that person was never one to accept me or believe me in that sense in the first place. So, ayun, it's really just acceptance that, it is what it is. It doesn't make it correct. It doesn't make... Also, another thing is, your feelings are not always a fact.
Yes,
So,
yes.
kung ano man yung feeling nyo or perception nyo sa mga personalities, sa mga artists, it's not always correct because you only really do see a portion of it. However, nasa artist na yun with how true are they gonna be. I can speak for myself. Of course, I would like to be as true as possible, and I do apply that principle. I was talking about this with my team before the interviews. Like, when I'm in interviews, I always like to showcase, or not really even showcase, just be who I am, and because I feel like that's the best way to go, because at the end of the day, I feel like that's what people connect to as well. I mean, yun nga, like, they label as pagpapakatotoo and things like that. But yeah, yun lang. That's really all I have to say with that in terms of their... I mean, they're entitled to their own opinions, but not their own facts. So,
Yes, yun
yun.
mo kanina na sometimes their opinions, it's facts for them. And no matter how authentic, no matter how true you can be to the audience, they will never still get to know 100% of you And
Yeah.
if you guys want to believe what you heard or what you thought, edi ano magagawa natin?
Yeah, because like, how does that? I mean, of course, in a perfect world, you'll say something, and
They'll believe
when
you.
when you speak the truth, people will believe that. But I know, especially with social media, people always they just choose what they want to believe, and there comes a point where I personally, as an artist, I have to let go of that, and I have to let go of the idea that I can really control that, because I can only say, like, right now you've given me the opportunity and the platform to talk about something like this, but with the way that people are going to receive this, I don't have any control over that. So for me, the sooner that you accept that as someone who's... And this goes for the people who want to enter this industry, who are watching right now, or who are in the industry, the sooner that you accept that, the better it is for you and your mental health. So, yun.
Grabe. It comes with, so I would imagine again, obviously I will never ever know what it is to be in your shoes, but I would really imagine that there's just so much mental load that you have to deal with.
It's
on
a
the
it's a
daily.
mental game. It really is, and I will also preface this by saying, like, I talk a big game in a sense
Yeah,
where people are like, oh, you're mature, you have it together. I don't always have it together. That's
But if
the
you say
reality
that,
of it.
seriously, you said it so well. Again,
Thanks.
it's the interview, it's the way you speak, it's everything about you that seems so mature, so put together. And if you're ever going through anything, hindi na, I don't see it, I don't feel it. So
Well,
good for
thanks,
you.
thanks.
Good for you. I don't
I
know if
try.
it's your management, your parents, you yourself. I don't know.
I think it's just my approach and perspective as well, that whenever I do these things, no matter how I'm feeling, I respect the platform that I'm on and the time that someone takes out to have a conversation with me and to talk about things, whatever they may be interested in about me. And I value that. I don't take that for granted. So however I'm feeling, I mean, obviously if physically I'm super unwell and I can't do it force majeure, then yes, obviously that would be a time where I wouldn't be able to do it. But no matter what I'm feeling, I always take the approach like, of course, I need to value this person's time, and then I want to give them a good experience. Like I always want it to be a positive experience when I talk to someone. I want the takeaway for them to be that they enjoyed talking to me and it was a good conversation for them. So yun lang.
And that is our mature and professional queen, Jayda. There we go. Thank you so much
Thanks
for
so much,
this.
Shai. This is so fun.
And I
really.
always enjoy listening to you speak. Promise. I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
You have
Thank
so
you.
much
Coming
light
from you.
Yeah, for real. You've got so much light and so much insight in a lot of things, not just about your work, but life in general. So
Wow, thank you so
yay.
much.
I want to cheers to you, but you actually have to make a toast. So
Yes,
let's
I
make
must.
a toast. Ikaw na
Yes.
bahala to whoever. The haters ba, your parents, your management, the EPIS, whatever. Go ahead. Go ahead right there.
Yeah, so I would like to propose a toast to all of the sad besties, the sad girls, and the sad boys watching. At sa mga bida natin dyan, cheers to you. And to all the dreamers watching, of course, I hope you guys were inspired. And just to anyone watching, to all the chasers out there.
There you go.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Charan.
And with that, we
concept.
unfortunately have to wrap this thing up. As
Oh,
much as I wanna...
I feel like I could talk for like
Exactly,
another
and
hour
I am
for you.
so willing to listen. Grabe, kaso sila Si Direk nagagalit sa
Okay
akin
lang
eh.
yan. Okay lang. Overtime na
Yun
na po.
nga, but
Sorry
I'm
po,
so
Direk.
okay.
I am a yapper.
But
I am a
we will
yapper.
still want you here next time again and
I would
again
love
and again
to.
and again. But before we let you go and let you perform Bida, please do invite everyone to check you out on your socials, or if you've got anything going on soon, go take it away.
Of course. Okay, so to everyone watching, I hope you guys can stream my newest single called Bida, or request nyo sa mga radio stations like, Easy Rock, Yes FM, Love Radio, the lot. And of course, I hope you guys can stream it, share it with a friend, share it with yung mga kapwa nyong mga bida-bida. And I hope you guys can follow me on my socials, Jayda on Instagram, Jayda Avanzado on X, and my TikTok, Jedi Jayda, and Facebook, official Jayda Avanzado. Thank you so much for having
Your
me.
TikTok handle.
It's Jedi Jayda.
Are you that kind of nerd?
Oh yes,
You're
I
very
definitely
hardcore.
am. I'm very hardcore. I mean, I loved Star Wars growing up. I was a bookworm too, and I love to play video games. That's my favorite
Nice.
pastime.
But we're
so.
gonna talk more about her hobbies next time.
Yes,
For
next
now,
time, for
let
sure.
us listen to your performance of Bida. Once again, my name is Shai, and I will check in on you guys again later. Love you. Bye. Thank you, Jayda.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Natulala mga sandali lumipas, biglang bagal ng eksena, parang pelikula. Nang makita mo siya, may kislap sa iyong mga mata, at nagbago ang takbo ng istorya. Biglang nagwakas, hindi pa nasimula, nagbago ang landas. Ako'y nang hinayang ng dahil sa kanya, di nagkatuluyan, di ako ang bida. Para lang itong bahagi ng drama, ngunit sa huli, di ako kasama. Ako ang nawala, kayo lang pala, di ako ang bida. Umiwas na ang tingin ko sa eksena na hindi ko kinakayang panoorin pa. Hindi ko na may kakaila ang sakit ng nadarama, dahil ang gusto kong pelikula ay tayo ng dalawa. Biglang ako'y nang